From getting arrested to offending an entire community, here's our list of celebrities who ruined their careers in seconds. We obviously gotta start off with Diddy. Now, Diddy's career was absolutely destroyed in 2024, although it seems like it should have happened much sooner. Now, it all started with everything that happened with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Cassie came out with a lawsuit against Diddy at the end of 2023 for all the times he mistreated her and took advantage of her. Now, shortly after this lawsuit was filed, it inspired more people to speak up about their horrible experiences with Diddy. Now, in the lawsuit, Cassie spoke of one specific incident that happened in a hotel hallway. Now, at the time, Diddy and his team denied everything, saying that Cassie was doing this to get a payday and that she was a liar. But less than 48 hours later, Diddy settled the case. Now, we thought everything with this was done, but in May of 2024, video footage of the hotel incident was leaked, showing that Cassie was indeed telling the truth and Diddy was the one who was lying. Now, the footage was absolutely horrifying, and after this was released, Diddy then posted to his Instagram page basically admitting everything and claiming that he takes full responsibility for his actions, but he only did this because he got caught. Then more people came forward with lawsuits against Diddy, and in September 2024 he was arrested for running a crime ring for decades. Now, he's still currently in jail and his trial is set for May 5th of this year, but since he's been arrested, he's been accused of more and more cases and he's lost all support. If he ever gets out of jail, which I honestly don't think he will, his career will never recover. Now, in 2019 and 2020, rapper DaBaby was very popular, starring on some of the biggest songs. But he ruined all of that for himself in 2021 with some offensive things he said. During his performance at the Rolling Loud Miami Festival, he made some homophobic comments which offended the LGBTQIA+ community. Now, many people stated that his speech was unnecessary and disrespectful, so people online called him out, but he just doubled down on his comments. Referring to himself as the best live performer, he said that his words were nothing more than a call to action and that those who didn't see his show in person should shut the F up. But due to this, multiple festivals ended up dropping him as a performer, and Burger King even canceled their intentions to collaborate with him on a meal. Then there was the fact that he collaborated with Dua Lipa on a remix of her song Levitating. Now, many people tried to get Dua's attention online and asked her to remove him from the song. Dua then put out a statement saying, "I'm surprised and horrified at DaBaby's comments. I really don't recognize this as the person I worked with. I know my fans know where my heart lies and that I stand 100% with the LGBTQ community. We need to come together and fight the stigma and ignorance around HIV and AIDS." Then, days after DaBaby's comments, radio programmers who played Dua Lipa's music removed the version of her song with DaBaby, shifting to her solo version. Now, a lot of celebrities then called DaBaby out, but he didn't seem to understand the gravity of what he said. He then apologized, but he then deleted his apology online. Now, I knew he did some offensive things at the time, but I really didn't realize how much he messed up. He lost a lot of hype and support, and who knows how big his career could have been if he didn't make those offensive comments. Katy Perry ruined her career last year before her new album even came out. Why? Well, Katy collaborated with producer Dr. Luke on her upcoming album 143. Now, the artist Kesha has a past with Dr. Luke, and she filed a lawsuit against him for mistreatment. Now, after denying all the allegations against him, the 9-year lawsuit came to an end in June 2023 when both parties released a statement revealing they had reached a settlement. So when Katy announced that Woman's World, a supposed feminist song, was made with Dr. Luke, fans decided to not support the song. After all, even Kesha seemed to chime in, posting LOL on Twitter when speculation of the collaborative project began. Now, Katy knew about Dr. Luke's actions, but she went ahead and worked with him anyways, which is ironic since the song Woman's World is about female empowerment. Not to mention, when people would bring up Dr. Luke in interviews, Katy would just ignore the question and deflect. In the end though, Katy's new album flopped and did horrible on the charts, so that seems like a bit of karma. In 2024, Blake Lively got her career absolutely ruined. happened. Now, was it really her ruining her own career or a public smear campaign? Honestly, it was a little bit of both. Now, all the hate towards Blake started when her film It Ends With Us came out. Now, the book it's based off of has been called problematic for romanticizing sensitive topics like DV, and the author Colleen Hoover has also had some controversies, so it was safe to assume that the movie was going to come along with drama too. Now, at the premiere, people noticed tension between Blake and her fellow actor and director Justin Baldoni. Now, to be fair, all of the cast avoided Justin. Eventually, it was leaked that there was a fracture among the filmmakers in post-production, and that Blake, who was a producer on the film, had commissioned her own cut of the film from editor Shane Reed, who was the editor on her husband Ryan Reynolds' film Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, Blake had also been called out about how she treated the promotion of the film. She had been performing the film as a rom-com when it covers serious topics. I mean, it's a drama, not a rom-com. She was also blasted as tone-deaf and shallow after she hosted an interview with her It Ends With Us co-stars and failed to discuss the serious message behind the movie. While Blake has touched on the movie's darker themes occasionally, she has been lighthearted for the most part of the press tour. For example, she focused much of her energy on her floral looks, which references her character's name and profession. She even says in the film's official TikTok account's promotional clip, "Grab your friends, wear your florals," as she encourages people to watch the movie. Which, is that really an appropriate thing to say? No, not really. Blake had also been using the film to promote some of her own businesses, which is just weird. Then a lot of people came forward speaking out about how Blake was rude to them and she was labeled a mean girl. Turns out though that Justin Baldoni's PR team manufactured some of the hate online to get back at Blake, and now Blake is suing Justin, and it's all just super complicated. Ashton Kutcher has also had a rough couple of years, from his past being dug up about Diddy and how he supported his friend who was convicted of serious crimes. The internet has turned their back on the once beloved star. Ashton is really good friends with Diddy, as they met in the early 2000s through MTV and became great friends, with Ashton attending Diddy's so-called legendary parties. Now, during a joint appearance on The Late Late Show in 2018, Ashton gave more insight into his relationship with Diddy, who he grew close to before meeting his now wife Mila Kunis. "We were spending a lot of time together," Ashton, seated next to Diddy, told the host James Corden. "If you are a single man, there is probably no greater human being in the world to hang out with," he said, adding, "By the way, this was 20 years ago, so we were having a lot of fun together." Then, during a 2019 appearance on Hot Ones, Ashton was asked his favorite Diddy party story, and Ashton avoided answering. "I've got a lot I can't say," he said, then took a pause. "Can't tell that one either," he said with a laugh. "I'm actually cycling through them. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing." Now, weird memory lane thing is a strange way to try to explain all of this away. Then there was the fact that he wrote letters to a judge in support of his That 70s Show co-star Danny Masterson. On June 17th, 2020, Danny was charged with 3 crimes, and on January 21st, 2021, he pleaded not guilty. Later though, he was found guilty. Now, for his sentencing, Ashton and Mila submitted character letters to the judge to hopefully reduce his sentencing. Now, these letters were leaked to the public, and it made a lot of people angry that they were defending him. Ashton wrote that Danny was an excellent role model and was a dedicated and loyal husband. Yeah, people did not like this at all.
I haven't read a Colleen Hoover book myself, but when you're given such a huge platform and you are in a situation where you have the advantage to talk about a very serious topic, wouldn't it make sense to do just that? In Blake Lively's case, a lot of people are stating that with her new role in It Ends With Us, the actress is not taking into account how serious the topic of this film is. To start off with one interview she had, the interviewer was seriously asking her how someone could approach you in public when they want to be open about how they themselves should go about domestic violence. She responds like this, guys. Asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. I could just location share you and then we could and then laughs it off towards the end. Why are you laughing about this? You couldn't have given them numbers intended for survivors of DV? The joke doesn't even end there. I'm a Virgo, so are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotional? Girl, you're making JLo's point of never trusting Virgos a strong case right now. The whole promotional standpoint of this film has been a messy one as well, with a lot of people claiming that the way they went about promoting it was more light-hearted and borderline on the fence of even romanticizing it. There were also fair claims made about how we shouldn't be approaching celebrities with our own trauma, but she could have just stated that. No one is forcing you to talk to your fans personally about their experiences, but you are in a movie about a very serious and sensitive topic, and should be treated as such. Not using this as a tactic to promote your own healthcare line, might I add. Blake, you went on a promotional tour for the movie, and yet everywhere you turned, it was nothing but your own healthcare line. We get it. The main character is a florist, but that's not the point, but that's not the entire point of the movie. And yet, you're dressed up like a Barbie doll, which is a complete 180 turn of the overall message. One TikToker by the name of Your Fave Feminist compares one of Blake's promos to a Barbie promo. Grab your friends, wear your florals, she excitedly proclaims. This is extremely tone deaf, making it seem like this movie will be a fun time with the girls and everyone's gonna have a blast watching it. Because of all of these, people have dug deeper into her past. From her wedding being placed on a plantation farm to the literal feud happening between the two co-stars on the set of It Ends With Us, and even overall attitude to when it comes towards interviewers. It's not looking good for this starlet. Obviously, going strong with our queen of bull, Jenny from the block supposedly has no idea what a block is or entails. With her new documentary coming out, The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, it's supposed to be showing a more real side of her, as well as a more in-depth view of her relationship with Ben Affleck. About facing the truth of who you really are, states the singer. What should have been a really pivotal turning point in her career completely blew up in flames all over TikTok. People have started claiming that she was misrepresenting herself, and even going as far as stretching truths or straight up lying in general. The one specific scene that you've probably already seen circulating around the app is the infamous one of her playing with her hair in the mirror as she goes, "It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to effing be wild and no limits, all dreams." Are you sure that what you're claiming itself wasn't a dream? That's what some of her own fans are saying, claiming that she has become, or maybe even has always been out of touch with reality, and being super performative with her claims about her own past. "We weren't running up and down the block like that, even as a kid," states a TikToker by the name of Silaminian, who claims she grew up within the Bronx as well, and it was nothing like how Jenny was describing it. What block were you running up and down on? Do you have any footage of this? Pictures of you being in the Bronx, being a normal child? Which is a totally fair question to ask, because I personally cannot find anything online about it. Drop those receipts, girl! Another TikToker by the name of Photos by Angela even claims she went to the same high school as her, which just so happened to be a private all-girls Catholic school called Preston High, and this was for 12 years. This isn't a cheap institution either. Tuition today per year costs around $12,395 based on the school's website. She is now perceived to be completely full of it, with some of these comments making me lose my own mind. At this point, the Bronx is a victim of J-Lo. This block needs royalties for as much as it's talked about. And H&R block apparently. I love the internet so much. Katy Perry! Girl, what happened? Ain't no way you got Lucas Gottwald to get on your latest music video. Woman's World as a producer. Did we all just forget about what really happened with Kesha? If y'all weren't aware about what went down between the two, allegedly back in 2006, on October 6th, Kesha was apparently intimately harmed by Gottwald after the two of them entered the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood and publicly accused him in 2014, to which he denies. With the case lasting for nearly a decade, Katy Perry herself was even wrapped into this when it came to picking sides, and allegedly being harmed herself by him, to which she also denies. Well, now we know which side she decided to choose after all. Her fans completely lit her up in flames, stating that they were very upset with him co-producing the song. When Perry was asked why she chose to work with Dr. Luke, even after the controversy, she states, "I understand that it started a lot of conversations, and he was one of many collaborators that I collaborated with. The reality is, it comes from me. I am speaking from my own experience. The truth is, I wrote these songs from my experience of my whole life going through this metamorphosis, and he was one of the people to help me facilitate all that." All that Kesha would respond with was a simple LOL on X when the news came out about the new song. I can feel the tension from here. And of course, the biggest case that came out this year was Diddy's arrest, which not only put him in the hot seat, but several other celebrities who have been known to make appearances occasionally at his well-known parties. The crimes to which he has been allegedly charged with are inflicting physical and intimate harm onto others, trafficking, and racketeering. He has since denied all these claims and has tried, as of recently, a third time to be bailed out of the Metropolitan Detention Center, which the judge so graciously denied because his offer was to be placed on an isolated private island until his trial. Yeah, not gonna happen, pal. When the police took over his home, they found an incredibly large abundance of baby oil, 1,000 bottles to be exact, narcotics, and so-called tapes of his parties and other events. A lot of people are being forced under the microscope, such as the Kardashians, Corey Gamble, Usher, Justin Bieber, as well as many other A-list celebrities that were in attendance at his wild events. Be sure to check out the other videos on this channel to see who's really been a part of this, because there were many interviews that were uncovered out there that almost foreshadowed and hinted at the fact that he'd be arrested one day for these freak-offs, and he himself claimed that back in 1999 on Entertainment Tonight. Alright, strap in. Kanye has some meaty lore going on in this year, and I'm gonna try and quickly speed run through it. And that's coming from me, who likes to yab a lot. Yeah, I read the comments. All these alleged stories and claims are coming to light after Diddy being thrown in prison for some of his own heinous crimes, giving the opportunity of some of Kanye's employees to come forward as well with some of the situations they've experienced with him. This comment was wild from the rapper, saying that certain horrific times in history were a choice. He goes on to explain that this choice was a mental blockage for these people. I want to delve further into this topic, but we've got a lot to cover. In November of this year, claims were made that Kanye physically harmed a model on the set of a music video back in 2010. Former America's Next Top Model reported that on the set of In for the Kill music video is when he harmed her. It started off when Kanye pointed to Anne and said, "Give me the Asian girl," then proceeded to smother her in front of the entire film crew, while also telling them to continue filming. While doing this, he would supposedly say, "This is art. This is effing art. I'm like Picasso. I'm all for shocking performative art, but only when it's done with the consent of the entire cast." October 2024, Kanye is being accused of investigating the Kardashians and his own wife, Bianca Cesnodi, with the help of former Director of Intelligence John Doe. I would be paranoid too about all the people around me after what supposedly went down at the Diddy parties. And it doesn't surprise me that he tried to see if the Kardashians had any links with the illegal events pinned on Puff Daddy. However, in the same month, Kanye is now potentially in the hot water with Diddy. An ex-assistant filed an amendment lawsuit on him, claiming that she was intimately harmed by West while she was accompanying both him and Sean Combs in a studio session. Apparently, drinks had gone around the studio, and Combs stated everybody had to drink if they wanted to stay. Laura Pisciotti, the assistant, claims that her drink had an illegal substance in it and she couldn't recall anything that happened later that evening. Years later, West admits to her that they did kind of hook up. This isn't the first instance that they've had with each other, with Laura claiming that he would try to be intimate with her on other occasions. That is wild. And yet he was the one trying to throw him under the bus by saying that he was a fed, this and that. Justin is right. You literally cannot trust anyone. With Laura coming forward, this encouraged other staff members of Kanye to speak out about their own experiences. His former chief of staff claimed forced labor and cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment, with people saying he hasn't even been paying them the proper wages and mocking them with hurtful remarks. This included within group chats, allegedly also using discriminatory words when referring to minorities and other foreign employees. Mo money, mo problems. I think we're putting the wrong people in the starlight, and it's becoming very scary at what these celebrities are getting away with. Starting off, we have Diddy. Diddy has been in a lot of hot water recently, and for good reason too. Diddy and Cassie Ventura first met in 2005, and 2 years later, they were romantically linked for a decade, being together on and off, but they officially called it quits in 2018. Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy on November 16th, 2023, and a lot of information came out about it. She alleged that before long, he had complete control over her life, and when he pursued a relationship with her, she agreed because she feared retaliation if she denied him. All aspects of Miss Ventura's life were controlled by either Mr. Combs or his management companies, the complaint said. She then filed a lawsuit against him for everything she went through. After this was reported in the news through his representatives, Diddy denied the allegations against him. Obviously, Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offense and outrageous allegations, said the rapper's lawyer, Ben Braffman, in a statement. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demands of $30 million, under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Miss Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. Then, less than 48 hours, they settled the case for an undisclosed amount of money. Then, after this, people forget about the whole lawsuit. But in May of 2024, everything changed. In Cassie's lawsuit, she spoke of an incident that happened at a hotel. Diddy denied this, but then a video footage of the incident was released. It was shocking to say the least, and it proved that Cassie was telling the truth the whole time. The gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Cassie's attorney said in a statement after the footage resurfaced, "Words cannot express the amount of courage and fortitude that Miss Ventura has shown in coming forward to bring this to light." Then people started calling Diddy out about what he said, and he put out a statement online. He said, "I was disgusted when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I'm gonna go to therapy, gonna go to rehab. I had asked God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry." He added that he was committed to being a better man each and every day. But you only have to look at the comment section to know that his fans don't believe him. They criticize Diddy for only apologizing now that the evidence has finally come out. What did I just say? After all, it's alleged that he paid $50,000 to keep the CCTV footage from the incident. With this footage coming out, a lot of people started viewing him differently. Then there's Kanye West's phone call with Taylor Swift that showed she was a liar. But first, we need some backstory. Perhaps the most iconic VMAs moment ever was back in 2009 when Taylor Swift was accepting her VMA for Best Female Video. Suddenly, in the middle of her speech, Kanye stormed the stage and took the microphone from her and said the infamous line, "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'ma let you finish, but Beyonce has one of the best videos of all time." They then had an ongoing feud, but the pair had seemingly made up in 2015 after being seen together at award shows and posting on social media. But that changed in 2016. In February 2016, Kanye released his song Famous, which included the lyrics, "I made that be famous." Following the backlash, the rapper took to Twitter, claiming that he had gotten permission from Taylor to name drop her following an hour-long phone conversation with the star. Then in June that year, Kim, Kanye's then wife, said she totally approved of that, regarding Taylor's knowledge of the lyrics of the famous song before the song's released. Kim added, "She totally knew that was coming out. She wanted to all of a sudden act like she didn't. I swear, my husband gets so much S for things when he really was doing proper protocol and even called it to get it approved." In July, Kim released video footage of Kanye and Taylor on the phone discussing the song. Taylor had no idea she was being recorded, but she did approve the lyrics. "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex," and was supportive of it. Then the internet turned on her, but it's important for me to point out that she did not know or approve the lyrics, "I made that be famous," which is the line she had a problem with. Taylor posted a statement saying, "Where is the video of Kanye telling me he was going to call me that B in his song? It doesn't exist, because it never happened." You don't get to control someone's emotional response to being called that B in front of the entire world, she wrote in a note. "I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative, one that I have never asked to be a part of since 2009. Regardless of what she said, everyone who wasn't a fan of her turned against her, with Kim and Kanye encouraging them. Kim made a lot of tweets regarding Taylor, calling her a snake and making rude remarks. Now, in 2020, the full unedited version of the Taylor-Kanye phone call came out, proving that Taylor never lied. She never approved the lyrics, "I made that be famous," like she said all along. Addressing the full video, Taylor posted on Instagram saying, "Instead of answering those who are asking how I feel about the video footage that leaked, proving that I was telling the truth the whole time about that call, you know, the one that was illegally recorded, that somebody edited and manipulated in order to frame me and put me up, my family, and my fans through hell for 4 years, swipe up." So yes, Taylor was happy that the truth came out, but called out how it affected her negatively. But still, Some people dislike Taylor because of all of this. Janet Jackson was the Super Bowl performer in 2004. Although being the halftime performer is supposed to boost your career as millions of people are watching your performance, the complete opposite happened to Janet, which was just unfortunate. During her performance, she brought out Justin Timberlake. He sang the lyric, "I'm gonna have you naked" by the end of this song, and then he tore open her costume, exposing her right chest to 140 million viewers. Now, this in general is just embarrassing, but the media had a field day with it. The incident was referred to as a nipplegate by the media. The FCC received more than 500,000 complaints about that broadcast. CBS was fined $5,500,000, and then the NFL was asked to refund the $10 million that they had been given to the halftime show sponsor. This also affected her outside of the Super Bowl, as she was not allowed to attend the Grammy Awards that year, forced to withdraw after being scheduled as a presenter. Then Janet's album was blacklisted by several radio stations and music channels. She was also asked to resign from the biographical film of singer and activist Lena Horne. Janet issued an apology and said that the incident was accidental, but some people never forgave her for a simple mistake, which in reality was Justin's fault. In 2004, Ashlee Simpson was the talk of the town. She had an album, debut at the top of the Hot 100, an MTV TV show, The Ashlee Simpson Show, and was the musical act on Saturday Night Live that June. Well, the SNL performance did not go as planned. She performed her hit single, Pieces of Me, on Saturday Night Live, which went well. She then returned to the stage to perform her next song, where then the vocals for the previous song began playing while her mic was down at her side. It was revealed that she was lip syncing. She then did an awkward jig on stage and later blamed her band during the closing credits. She said, "I feel so bad. My band started playing the wrong song. I didn't know what to do, so I thought I'd do a hoedown. I'm sorry, live TV. It was just plain awkward." Her career never recovered as she was booed at her Orange Bowl performance in 2005, and her next two albums did not do well.
Starting off, we have Ashton Kutcher. Now, Ashton has been in some pretty hot water the past couple of months due to his friendship with Diddy.
We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out and watch football together.
Now, if you somehow live under a rock, Diddy has been arrested for running a crime ring out of his infamous parties.
We now represent 120 individuals against Sean Diddy Combs.
Now, he's being accused of some pretty horrible things, so anyone who's been associated with him in the past is being questioned. And one of those people happens to be Ashton, as many photos of the two have been leaked, and even photos of Ashton at Diddy's parties have leaked too. Now, Diddy and Ashton have been friends since the early 2000s, and they first met through MTV as Ashton was hosting his prank show, Punk'd. They then quickly became friends, and Ashton attended his parties. During a 2019 appearance on Hot Ones, Ashton explained that their really bizarre friendship began after Diddy told Ashton he wasn't allowed to prank him on Punk'd.
Our relationship was really bizarre, so it started over Punk'd, because he
Yeah.
was like, yo,
Don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And
Then, when asked for his favorite Diddy party story, Ashton avoided answering. "I've got a lot I can't tell," he said, then took a pause.
wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell.
"Can't tell that one either," he said with a laugh. "I'm actually cycling through them. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing."
Can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them.
Now, in 2018, Ashton also joined Diddy on The Late Late Show, and they spoke about their friendship. It's been said from sources that Ashton is actually scared of what Diddy could say, and that he might try to drag the actor down. An insider source revealed to Daily Mail that Ashton absolutely regrets his friendship with Diddy, considering what has happened. He feels lied to, betrayed, taken for granted, and manipulated. They continue by saying everyone who is close to Diddy fears the possibility of Diddy making up false allegations to clear his own name. Although Ashton is frightened by the prospect of being involved in the case, he's also prepared to completely cooperate with the authorities because he has nothing to hide. I don't know though. I feel like a non-guilty person isn't too worried about being framed and for being taken down for something that's complete lies. Now I think Ashton is definitely hiding something and is more involved than we think, but we'll just have to see how this all plays out. Now Kathy Griffin was one of the top female comedians until a joke went wrong. In May 2017, she posed for a photo that had something to do with the president at the time. It was a joke, but some people did not perceive it this way. I mean, Kathy even knew it was bad, as during the photo shoot, she joked that she and Tyler, the photographer, would need to move to Mexico once the pics got released, for fear that they'd be thrown in prison. Now, we actually can't even show you the picture because it was so bad. Now, when the photo was released, the blowback was so severe that it sent Kathy into a celebrity exile. Kathy said the photo was meant as political satire, but that didn't stop all hell from breaking loose. The image became international news and caused the mother of all firestorms to come crashing down on the comic, even after she released a tearful apology on YouTube. Of course, she then later retracted that apology at a press conference, blamed the president for breaking her, and incoherently tried to paint the image as a free speech issue. Now, due to this, theaters on her tour canceled her gigs, and CNN fired her from the New Year's Eve show that she'd spent a decade presenting. Now, she has since gone great lengths to attempt to revive her career, but despite her apologies and her subsequent work, she never fully recovered from the incident. Then there's Britney Spears. As we all know, Britney Spears has had a crazy time being in the spotlight. Now, Britney shaving her head is the moment that has come to define her mental health breakdown in 2007. Now, at the time, Britney had recently split from her husband and was engaged in a public custody battle for her sons Sean and Jaden. Her aunt Sandra had also just passed away from cancer. However, Britney has revealed that the main driving force behind her decision to shave her head was to push back against those who had eyeballed her. Now, a few days after her head shaving incident, videographers captured Britney sitting in the car at a gas station while her cousin Allie Sims filled up the car. Now, at some point, Britney leaves the car and approaches the photographers, and Allie can be heard begging, "Please, you guys, don't do this," before there is a banging noise, and you hear, "F you, F yourself," Britney shouts. Now, that banging noise, well, she was attacking a vehicle with an umbrella. Now, it took a few months, but Britney gave a defense of the incident on her website, saying, "I was preparing my character for a role in a movie where the husband never plays his part, so they switch places accidentally. I take all my roles very seriously and got a little carried away. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part," she said. Now, later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 5150 hold in the hospital. Now, a week after, she was sent back to the hospital on a 5150 hold, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. This is when Britney started facing a lot of problems and wasn't able to be in control of her career or even her personal life. Okay, now this photo of Bow Wow didn't fully ruin his career, but it sure was embarrassing. Now, in May 2017, Bow Wow shared a picture that showed a luxury car parked beside a private jet on an airport tarmac. Now, it seemed like he was trying to flex on everyone that he was going on his private jet, but that was far from the truth. Now, initially, no one thought much of it. I mean, celebrities post their private jets all the time, until hours later when another picture emerged showing the rapper seated in economy class on a commercial flight. Now, eagle-eyed fans quickly traced the original picture to the website of a VIP transport company. Now, no one would have had a problem with this if they just saw him on a commercial flight, but the fact that he lied about it just made it even more embarrassing. Now, Jennifer Grey was an up-and-coming movie star. She reached her big break and was known globally, but her fame came crashing down when she got a nose job. The removal of the bump, the dorsal hump on Jennifer's nose, made her look very different from what people were used to seeing her like. In an interview with the New York Times to promote her memoir, Jennifer described the impact of plastic surgery on her life. "Overnight, I lost my identity and my career," she said. Now, the two surgeries happened after Dirty Dancing, and a second surgery was meant to correct an issue caused by the first, but it left her nose shortened and dwarfed, making Jennifer practically unrecognizable to people she had known for years. Now, she had painfully recalled no longer being recognized by photographers and becoming a national punchline due to her plastic surgeries. Now, she looked nothing like her past characters. Post-op, Jennifer went unrecognized at red carpets and by her family and friends. She said, "It seemed like I had committed an unforgivable crime, willfully stripping away the only thing that made me special. I went on for years in purgatory, unrecognized, without steady work, and with strangers giving backhanded compliments about my new look." She remembered her loss of identity and career overnight, and her career was once promising, but after her surgery, her roles dried up and her career never fully recovered. In 2005, when Prince Harry was 20 years old, he wore an incredibly offensive Halloween costume. He went as a soldier from a certain German army from World War II, and this costume instantly made headlines. The Sun newspaper published a photo of him on the front page wearing it. Now, the picture was taken at a costume party with a native and colonial theme, where Prince William was also a guest and was dressed in a homemade lion outfit. Now, Prince Harry put some of the blame for his costume on his brother Prince William and his sister-in-law Kate Middleton, as in his new memoir, he claimed that the Prince and Princess of Wales howled with laughter when they saw him dressed up for the 2005 party. Although he called the incident one of the biggest mistakes in my life, one senior publishing source told Page Six, "It's strange as you would think that Harry would take ownership of this and just move on and not drag his brother into it, but he makes it clear that he feels strongly about William's role in the scandal." Now, a lot of celebrities have been to Diddy parties and engaged in who knows what while there. But someone else who's been exposed and has their career on the rocks is Jay-Z. Now, a federal lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Diddy as a defendant. What we knew at the time was that at an after party, a victim was mistreated by Diddy while another male celebrity and female celebrity, neither of whom were named in the lawsuit, watched until she was able to escape. Now, this case was refiled on Sunday, December 8th, and it included Jay-Z, aka Sean Carter, in it. It turns out that he was the male celebrity described in the suit. A lawsuit says a friend dropped the Jane Doe off at the VMAs at the Radio City Music Hall in the year 2000. Now, she did not have a ticket, and she approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access to the show or to an after party. One driver, the lawsuit says, told her that he worked for Diddy and that she fit for what Diddy was looking for. He invited her to a party after the show and told her to return to his car later in the evening as he transported Diddy and Jay-Z. Later, the driver picked her up, and after 20 minutes they arrived at a white house with a U-shaped driveway. She then had to sign a document she believed to be a non-disclosure agreement on arrival to enter the party, which the suit says was filled with celebrities. She was then offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down, and so she went into a room to rest. Shortly afterwards, the suit says Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room, with Diddy saying, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while the unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, after the alleged incident, the suit says she grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called her father. Now, the accuser is seeking unspecified damages, and all I gotta say is that is just absolutely disgusting. Now, Jay-Z has denied all of this, but with him being so close with Diddy, it's extremely believable. Everyone is surely looking at him differently right now, and we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. Now, the internet turned on Blake Lively this year when it came to her film It Ends With Us. Now, there was a lot of drama behind the scenes involving Blake, but Blake was also called out about how she treated the promotion of this film. Now, she'd been promoting the film as a rom-com when it covers serious topics. I mean, it's a drama, not a rom-com. At the premiere, her husband Ryan attended, but so did his Deadpool 3 co-star Hugh Jackman. Now, a lot of people have claimed that it felt like Blake and Ryan were trying to recreate the magic of the Barbie and Oppenheimer movie premieres last summer. But due to the nature of It Ends With Us, it's just not the right thing to do at all. Now, Blake had also been blasted as tone deaf and shallow after she hosted an interview with her It Ends With Us co-stars and failed to discuss the serious message behind the movie. Not to mention, an interview of her being horrible to an interviewer has been released. Norwegian interviewer Christy Flaw, who goes by Kirsty, has uploaded her 2016 interview with Blake that was so uncomfortable it made her want to quit her journalism career. Now, Kirsty posted a video simply called "The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job." In the clip, Blake is joined by Parker Posey, and they're promoting a movie that came out in 2016, so the interview would have taken place around the same time. Now, at that time, Blake had announced her pregnancy at the Met Gala that May, but she appeared to take offense when Kirsty starts the interview by congratulating her on her little bump. "Congrats on your little bump," Blake mockingly retorts to Kirsty, who visibly isn't pregnant. Now, Blake and Parker then pretty much decide to ignore the interviewer, and it's just very awkward, and people online then began to call her out and disapproved of her behavior. Then there's Drake. This year, Drake and Kendrick Lamar got into some major rap beef that went on for weeks. Now, Kendrick won this hands down, and the whole internet turned against Drake, but during this feud, it appeared that someone in Drake's team was leaking things to Kendrick. Now, it was made clear that there was some sort of leak in Drake's team, and that he couldn't trust everyone, as Kendrick put out "Meet the Grams," and the cover art is photos of Drake's belongings and was most likely taken from inside his own house. Now, honestly, that is just insane. Now, the photo was filled with receipts and prescription medication, including the weight loss drug Ozempic, which Drake has been accused of taking. Now, there's some other pretty shocking things too in the photo, but those images don't follow the guidelines for me to talk about here. Now, the cover art wasn't the only shocking thing though, as in the song, Kendrick addresses his verses to Drake's son, Adonis, and Drake's parents. "Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father," he bluntly opens the track with. Now, he also made some pretty big allegations against the rapper. Now, it was also just announced that Kendrick will be performing the Super Bowl halftime show in 2025, and he'll have the entire world singing about hating Drake and how much of a creep he is. So again, I think it's safe to say that Kendrick won this battle, and Drake should honestly just give up. And finally, we have MrBeast. At the beginning of the year, MrBeast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, was loved by many in the YouTube community. But as the year went on, his reputation got worse and worse. Now, on July 24th, one of his former employees released a YouTube video accusing him of rigging contests, running illegal lotteries, and deceiving his fans. In a second video, the uploader interviewed another former employee who described poor working conditions and Jimmy hiring people on his crew with serious criminal pasts. Then in September 2024, a class action lawsuit on behalf of former contestants of Beast Games was filed against Jimmy, Amazon, and associated production companies in the Los Angeles Superior Court. Now, the lawsuits allege that Beast Game contestants experienced widespread mistreatment and unpaid expenses and wages. Now, the lawsuit also alleged that these violations occurred for the purpose of gaining Nevada tax credits, as plaintiffs in the proposed class were forced to enter into illegal contracts and provide false information to the state of Nevada to obtain unearned tax credits. Now, Rolling Stone did a whole expose on this game show, and it showed that not only were the contestants mistreated, but so was the crew. On September 11th, a crew member on the game show was reportedly hospitalized after a 6x6 set piece fell on them during filming. Now, Rolling Stone went even further by stating that they received internal documents from crew members who likened the show to Fyre Festival, calling the project wild and disorganized. "It's a Fyre Festival kind of feeling," one staffer wrote, as per Rolling Stone's report. "There's a reason why this level of production hasn't been attempted before, and it certainly should have never been attempted without people who know what they are doing." Then there's also the fact that Jimmy collaborated with Logan Paul and KSI to create a rival of the brand Lunchables called Lunchly. Except people who bought their product found mold in their meals and discovered that the food wasn't handled properly. Now, this was just another scandal that ruined MrBeast's brand.
Now, in February of 2011, Charlie Sheen gave a series of explosive interviews, including one with ABC's Andrea Canning. Now, that aired on 2020, the show. He showcased erratic behavior, and this interview contributed to his highly publicized meltdown, which actually led to him being fired from his hit show 2.5 Men. Stay with me, this gets really crazy. So in this interview, Sheen claimed to be a warlock with tiger blood and Adonis DNA. He also said that he's just really passionate, and when Canning said that some people thought him to be bipolar, he said, "Wow, what does that mean? What's the cure? Medicine?"
Wow, and then what? What's the cure? Medicine? Make me like them? Not gonna happen.
He then went on to say that he's not bipolar, but bi-winning.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what?
When Canning asked him when's the last time he used, he replied by saying he uses vacuum cleaners, blenders, household items, and avoid actually answering directly by saying he doesn't remember. He also harshly criticized his hit show's creator, Chuck Lorre. He downplayed his substance abuse issues, but in the same breath, he said he's probably taken more substances than anyone should ever take and survive.
I probably took more than anybody could survive.
And when the interviewer asked if he was worried he would die, he replied saying, dying is for fools.
Dying is for fools.
But you're only human.
So he also made really boastful claims saying, I'm a rock star from Mars, whatever that means. So he said he's proud of all his party moments because he's exposed people to magic that they wouldn't otherwise have had an opportunity to experience.
I expose people to magic. I expose them to something they're never otherwise going to see in their boring, normal life.
So this entire interview was like completely unhinged and so out of pocket. And needless to say, it ruined his career despite him apologizing afterwards for his rants and insults. He did then try to sue CBS for like $100 million, failed obviously, and then went to rehab and took some accountability for his actions. Now, going forward, don't come for me when I talk about Lindsay Lohan. I know she's like our comeback queen, and trust me, there is no one happier than like 11-year-old me to see her glowing, winning, and thriving right now. But because of her amazing return to Hollywood, I think it's fair we discuss her 2013 interview with Oprah Winfrey that completely destroyed her career. Now, in August of 2013, Lindsay Lohan sat down with Oprah for an exclusive interview on Oprah's show, Oprah's Next Chapter. The conversation addressed Lindsay's struggles with addiction, mental health, and her like tumultuous career. Lohan admitted to using substances, which also included overusing prescription medications, and she also went on to discuss her bipolar diagnosis and struggles with anxiety. Lindsay also did make a point to express that she had very strained relationships with her entire family, and that's caused her to make really bad decisions from guilt. And she even told Oprah that going to jail didn't seem like a bad idea, as it would give her like a break and some peace.
And kind of wanted to go to jail. Why? Just to find some peace.
So like, you know, things are really bad when jail seems like a better living situation than your home life. This interview came with obviously a lot of mixed reviews. Like, a lot of Lilo fans saw Lindsay's tone as like dismissive, unapologetic, and insincere, but some praised Lohan's vulnerability, saying she was brave to discuss all of this so publicly and had hopes that it would bring actually more awareness as well as open like a healing path for Lindsay. And following this very public and very exposed interview with Oprah, Lindsay then did actually enter the Betty Ford Rehab Center, and Oprah's own network, like not her own network, like OWN is in the network, produced a documentary titled Lindsay, which documented Lohan's recovery journey. The ratings weren't that good, but Lohan's interview with Oprah did mark a career turning point for Lindsay, and although she tried to like revive her career with some small guest starring roles, one of them in which HBO's, I think, Eastbound and Down, and a quick appearance actually on a British TV series called Sick Note, she really didn't actually make her grand comeback until 2020, when she announced through Instagram that she would be returning to our TV screens with several new projects underway. I have to say, I actually have watched her recent Netflix films. They're like really so good. Like, all of them looks amazing. The acting was great. She looks great. Her hair is laid, makeup is slayed. She looks paid. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on. And I just want to end this off with someone who we like all knew and loved. Maybe not all of us, but like growing up, I definitely did. And this is none other than Miss Roseanne Barr. Now, if you're a 90s kid, you likely couldn't escape having to see, hear, or watch at least like one episode of the hit show Roseanne. I have like very fond memories of watching it as a kid, and like all good things, it did come to an end, but to everyone's surprise, 20 years later, it was given a reboot. Now, this was actually starring most, if not all, of the original cast, of course, with some added players, but it had big hopes, and to be honest, it actually did have big ratings too. Like, I, for one, was thrilled about it. I couldn't wait to eat some like Dunkaroos, dive into some nostalgia during the weekdays again. However, on May 29, 2018, all that momentum and excitement changed when Roseanne posted a racist tweet about Valerie Jarrett, which she was a former advisor to then President Barack Obama. Now, her tweet read, Muslim Brotherhood, and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ, like VJ referring to Valerie Jarrett. Barr later deleted the tweet and apologized in a tweet saying, "I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and to all Americans. I'm truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me, my joke was in bad taste." The damage was most definitely done though. Like within a couple of hours, ABC pulled the plug on Roseanne's show and made a statement that said Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show. That statement came from Canning Dungey, the president of ABC Entertainment. Now, Roseanne's talent agency, ICM Partners, dropped her immediately and ended their representation with her saying she violated their core values. Some of Barr's co-stars like Sarah Gilbert, Laurie Metcalf, and John Goodman actually condemned Barr's tweets, and Sarah saying it was like sad and very difficult. Inevitably, Roseanne faced widespread criticism, and she actually claimed it was the sleeping aid Ambien. She claimed that caused her racist tweet, but the company, Sanofi, that actually produces Ambien, actually spoke out with their own tweet saying, "People of all races, religions, and nationalities work at Sanofi every day to improve the lives of people around the world. While all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication." Listen, I have taken some sequels before. Not once has it ever made me delusional enough to go and write an inappropriate tweet, but okay. ABC replaced her time slot with a show called The Middle, and because of the amazing ratings that the Roseanne reboot actually initially got, ABC would then go on to create a spin-off titled The Conners, which premiered on October 16, 2018, and the story continues just without Barr. Now, Roseanne went on an apology tour, basically, appearing on any TV show she could get on, interviews, apologizing, and trying to basically redeem herself. However, despite at the time saying she would just delete her Twitter entirely, she still would occasionally go on Twitter rants that were nasty, inappropriate, and not something who is trying to rebrand themselves should be saying. So ultimately, her reputation was damaged, and to this day, she's still suffering as a result. What do you guys think? Anyone else that had a horrible interview that sounds like they should have made the list? I'm your host, Ashlee. It's been great catching up.
3 crew members who worked on It Ends With Us told news outlets that creative differences and a very obvious behind-the-scenes power struggle between director Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were very apparent during filming. Over the course of the on-again, off-again production, which I think it was from March through June 2023, crew members said they observed Blake Lively and Justin's contrasting approaches to filmmaking, and apparently Blake's attitude was really shifting while making the project. Eventually, according to all the sources, who obviously can't be named because they're concerned for their work in the industry, it was very clear that Blake actually didn't want to be on set. Apparently everybody knew they didn't like each other. And they're like, look, the gossip is a bit much, but it might be worth talking about when Blake was, very notably keeping her distance from Justin on the red carpet when they were promoting the movies. And even the source said, I don't think they would work together again. Blake is very business-minded, very practical. Justin is so on the other side of why he makes art that these two were never going to be friends. She had her own vision of how she wanted Lily to dress, which heavily conflicted with the costume department's ideas. So when the production had to go dark because of picket lines, costuming was running around like crazy trying to figure out how they could change everything to make sure Blake was happy, which I get it, some folks have demands, they have their vision, but at the same time, there was a lot of returns, a lot of exchanges, and repurchasing of an entire wardrobe, and that was kind of detrimental to production. The production designer was put on the spot when Blake asked them to change the initial plans for the flower store because the lookbook for the original set design was very gothic, very violet, very dark red, but then Blake was like, I don't really like that, I want it to be more, in my view, my vision of what aligns with Lily's style. Apparently, Blake had all these scheduling conflicts, which is common for actors, but not usually for a principal actor who is also a producer on the project, and I'm just seeing a lot of red flags. The controversies surrounding so-called king of YouTube MrBeast began snowballing this year. So MrBeast was the #1 YouTube channel. So turns out he and Amazon have been sued by contestants of the MrBeast Beast Games competition show. Folks are claiming chronic mistreatment, harassment, and so many more things that I can't talk about. 5 unnamed participants of the show, which pitted like 2,000 contestants against each other for a single cash prize of $5 million, had a number of allegations raised against it in the press this year. There was a very real class action lawsuit filed against MrBeast and Amazon. According to the lawsuit, participants were not paid properly, they experienced emotional distress, they did not receive uninterrupted meal breaks or rest breaks, they were deprived of medical care, food, sleep, basic hygiene necessities, they were subjected to a hostile work environment. Now, this lawsuit was filed in LA back in September, and it was seeking class action status on behalf of all affected contestants. It was demanding properly paid wages, expenses, and punitive monetary damages. Now, MrBeast kind of was staying quiet on the matter because he has bigger problems in his life. He recently launched this whole prepackaged lunch brand. It was him, Logan Paul, KSI. You've heard of Lunchables, right? Well, Lunchly was framed as a slightly healthier alternative. It had his own chocolate bar, the MrBeast bar. It had Prime energy drinks, you know, all that fun stuff. And it was very quickly debunked as being healthier by Roseanne Pansino and Dr. Mike. So part of the pitch for Lunchly is that the product is made with real cheese, compared to cheese products used in Lunchables. Well, going back to Ro, who is like an original YouTuber. She's been here, we love her. She posted this video titled, "I tried Lunchly and it was moldy." And the title pretty much sums up the video. So she opens it, she wants to do a taste test, and she, honest to goodness, gets mold. And she's not the only one out there. I have seen so many videos of people opening these Lunchlys and it's just so gross. Like, there's a reason cheese products, folks. Jennifer Lopez. So if you didn't know, earlier this year, Jennifer Lopez released her documentary on Amazon Prime, This Is Me Now, a love story. It gave this whole behind the scenes look into the This Is Me Now album, the greatest love story never told. May that rest in peace. And a lot of folks who watched it were like, J-Lo, I think you're lying about some things. So let's count it off, folks. In one scene, J-Lo poses in the mirror of her personal gym. She's shaking out her hair and she's reminiscing about growing up in the Bronx. She says, "Oh, I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me when I was running up and down the block. Crazy girl who used to be wild, no limits, all dreams." Well, TikTok user Photos by Angela slammed the star in a series of videos, saying she went to the same Catholic high school as J-Lo and accused her of lying about her experience living in the Bronx. She said, and I quote, "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block." Alright, line number 2, folks. J-Lo has long been accused of not actually singing on her albums, and singer Natasha Ramos took to TikTok to shed light on that rumor. Natasha has a voice very similar to J-Lo's, and was hired to sing the demo of Jenny from the Block. The production team liked her voice so much that they asked her to record 5 more songs for the album This Is Me. And Natasha received $3,500 backup singer's credit. But however, as she claims, and as the original demo demonstrates, it's her voice in the final track. And not just in the choruses, it's her laugh, it's her yelling from the Bronx. J-Lo only really sings in the verse. Now, J-Lo is notorious for stealing from artists. And it's kind of crazy, and we're gonna count it off, but as you see, things are starting to add up, folks. So J-Lo caught her big break back in 1997 when she starred as Selena in The Biography. And after that, she got into music. Her demo was picked up by Tony Mottola, Sony Music. She dropped her debut album on the 6th in 1999, and one big hit from the album was If You Had My Love. You know it, I know it, I love it. So this song got some backlash from R&B singer Shantae Moore, because she had a near identical song called If I Gave Love that was recorded a year prior in 1998. Both songs were written and produced by Rodney Jerkins, and it's been said that J-Lo's then boyfriend, Puffy, pressured Jerkins to write a near identical song. And more stealing from J-Lo, folks, we're not done yet. J-Lo has passed off many vocals from other singers as her own over the years, which is essentially committing fraud. Songs like Play and the I'm Real remix feature prominent reference track vocals from Christina Milian and Ashanti. J-Lo and Ja Rule's music video for I'm Real? Yeah, come on. We saw her try to pass off Ashanti's reference vocals as her own. She left the demo vocals there and didn't credit anybody. She's attempted, or well, kind of stolen, from Usher, Brandy Norwood, Mariah Carey, and so many others. She's been accused of lip syncing, and when you add all those things up, yeah, 2024 is not your year, girl. Katy Perry's great comeback this year didn't really generate the headlines she was hoping for. For one thing, the music video for her song Woman's World, which featured the lyrics, "It's a woman's world and you're lucky to be living in it," had a very specific producer, Dr. Luke. The same Dr. Luke that was accused by Kesha of some really bad things. So as a result, Katy Perry's message of female empowerment was met with a lot of criticism because it was like, why would you work with him after everything that we know? What's more, a big part of the internet also believed that Katy Perry's Teenage Dream album, the vibes just weren't it. If that wasn't enough, she was met with further complications during the filming of her Lifetime music video. So that video production took place in the Balearic Islands, and it prompted a lot of folks to launch investigations against her because it wasn't it. And that's all for today, folks. See you next time.